Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hopefully you've all had a wonderful holiday. And I am today playing with the Tailored Expressions Create in Quads stencil set. And this, I believe, is new for 2021. And the awesome thing about this is that you can easily turn out multiple cards, because it basically creates backgrounds for 4 cards at once on this stencil. And this stencil is, I would say, let me measure it. This stencil is, yeah, 8.5 wide by 11 inches long. So basically the size of a standard sheet of paper. And what it allows you to do is create 4 backgrounds at once with ink blending. And it has 4 different stencils that come with the set. And each stencil is a different layer. So it's a layering stencil set. And it's so awesome. I cannot say enough good things about this set. Easy peasy to turn out multiple cards at once, which I love. Anything that makes making Christmas cards easier is an A+ in my book. So I ordered this from Tailored Expressions a while back, and I got to play with it. And I essentially did 2 different colors. I did more of a fun color set with the blue greens that you see here, and then like the pinks, and then I also did a traditional set with reds and greens. So I'm going to go ahead and put on a little bit of music for you, and you can just watch me ink blend these together. And I did list the distress ink colors that I used across the top of the screen for your reference. I'll be back in a jiffy. Okay, I am finishing up the last of my ink blending, adding the shadow layer to the traditional color set that I'm working on. This is aged mahogany, and just finishing that up real quick. And I love, first of all, layering stencils are amazing, am I right? Anything that you can use easily to create a background, to create an image, to color in an image, makes your crafting life so much easier. And I have to say, you know, as a person who is kind of like, I don't start my Christmas cards in July, people. I start my Christmas cards in October. So anything that I can do to make the process quicker and easier, I love, and I will use over and over and over again. So I have to say that this is one of those stencils that I will use over and over and over again. And so the other thing I did was I used a die set from the Greetery. This is the Joy die set from the Greetery, and I cut a ton of these from all different colors of cardstock. I used mostly foil and iridescent cardstocks and some glitter cardstocks, and I just cut a bunch of them. So I kind of sort of assembly line for these, but not really, because I kind of had to play around and see what I liked with the different cards and how I was going to lay them out. So that's kind of what I'm doing right here, is just figuring out what sentiment, which color sentiment I'm going to put with which background, and then figuring out if they're going to be top fold or side fold cards. And so I'm going to use some liquid glue here on my backgrounds to just adhere those to my card bases. My card bases are, of course, made from Nena 110 pound cardstock, which is my go-to. And then because the glitter is so hard to stick anything to with liquid glue and make it stick, I tend to use the score tape because it works really well with glitter papers and adheres really well, so I don't usually have a problem with it. So I'm just going to put that onto my card base there and put it onto the glitter background. I'm trying to get these lined up. I did stand up for that. I think sometimes it makes it easier when you stand up. And then of course I'm going to burnish it really well to make sure that that adhesive gets stuck to that glitter paper. And the Joy die set from the Greetery, it's essentially it's a 2-layer die set. So it has the shadow layer, and then it has a detailed letter layer, and each of the letters are separate. When I originally purchased it, I thought that it was all one word, and it's not. So it is 3 separate letters. So keep that in mind if you decide to purchase it. It's a beautiful sentiment die. I just think it's so pretty. And there's also a foiling plate that you'll see a little bit later on here. And sorry, I am still having issues with my camera moving around. I thought that it was the image stabilization on my phone. I have turned it off and I'm still having issues with it. I do try to edit that out as much as possible. I know it's really annoying. I wish I could figure out what the issue was, but I keep trying different things and nothing seems to be working. So, and on some of these I did adhere them directly to my background. Some of them I did use some dimensional foam to pop those up a little bit. And this is such a quick and easy way to, like, if you had to mass produce Christmas cards, this would be so easy to do assembly line style, and just turn them out, and they would be so quick, and you wouldn't even have to do anything fancy with them. I didn't add any additional embellishments to any of my cards because I kind of felt like the glitter cardstock and the iridescent cardstock is enough, and then with the backgrounds being what they are, I thought that they really didn't need anything additional. So I really, really like how these turned out. I am so in love with these. It's taken me forever to get this video edited, and I took a ton of photos of my cards, which you'll have to go over to my blog and check out. I will link my blog post below for these, so you can go and check out all the photos, because I obviously couldn't include them all in the still for the video. So I am just turning through these cards, getting them all assembled. And for this set, the little bow die, I believe, is a Spellbinders die that came with a monthly kit. I pulled it out of my stash, and it was not with any other, like, it didn't look like a kit set, so I don't know where that came from actually, but it worked perfectly for creating a little bow detail. Always good to shop your stash when you're trying to fill in some elements for your cards. I have tons of dies and things, and that just happened to work out really well. I think I have some other bow dies that would have worked as well too. So I just thought it was kind of cute to kind of tie that little bundle together on this particular card. Me blasting through my dimensional foam here. It's a good thing I keep a good supply of it on hand. I use it for everything. And really, some of these cards with the backgrounds, like this one, is very, to me, clean and simple. You could also stencil the backgrounds and then cut them out and make, you know, cut out shapes or something. You could use them to create like ornaments. There's so many different things you could do with the stencil background. So this is really one of those stencil sets that I'll use again and again. And again, you wouldn't even, these don't have to be Christmas necessarily. It's generic enough that you could make it for any season really, just by changing up the colors. So, and you'll see later on when I get to working on my other pastel sort of colored cards, you'll see they are Christmassy, but they wouldn't necessarily have to be if I changed out the sentiment. There is just lots of assembly. I mean, you make 4 cards pretty easily with this, so it takes a little while to get them all assembled together. And I used 110 pound cardstock for anything that is white paper, for my sentiment also. I pretty much use 110 pound cardstock for everything. I don't vary too much from it. My scratch paper is usually 80 pound cardstock if I'm coloring something, but I just find that everything seems to hold up better when you use a heavyweight cardstock. It's not so great when you're wanting to mail things. It does cost a little bit extra because it tends to weigh more. And I also wanted to mention that the background, I used the little scalloped background on these cards that you can see off to the right here. That is from a My Favorite Things dynamic set that is long retired. I will link to some other products that are similar in my description below that you could check out that would be almost identical to this. This is one of my favorite die sets, and I use it a lot. It just that they retired them quite some time ago, I believe. They got rid of all the sets that they used to do where they were like build a card kind of sets, and this was one of those. And using my acrylic blocks to, when I'm gluing stuff, just to make sure everything stays together. Let the glue set a little bit. And here I am using the foil plate from the Greetery. I did play around with it. My intention was to use the solid foil plate and do some reverse foiling, and actually I could not get it to work, and at the same time my Glimmer hot foil machine actually died on me, and so I don't know if the reason why I wasn't able to get the negative foiling or reverse foiling to work was because of that, because it wasn't heating up enough, or what the situation was. I have not tried it since. The actual sentiment die, or sentiment, the joy sentiment, foiled beautifully, as you can see. So I used some of the Spellbinders foils for this, and it turned out really good. Some overfoiling a little bit around the edges, but that was because I used such a big piece of foil on it. That's a image of the negative, but I ended up not using that because it had that clear layer over it, and when I peeled it off most of the foil too, so I was having some sort of issues with it. And I will continue to play with it and try to get it to work, and hopefully foil as beautifully as what I'm seeing that it can do. So here is a look at all of my cards that I created. Again, quick and easy process. And these are beautiful Christmas cards. And like I said, you could use them for almost any occasion. If you change up the sentiment, they would be perfect. So much fun. And I love the fact that it creates essentially 4 different designs. So if you're doing mass producing cards, you're creating 4 different designs, and you can do different colors. And there's my little bow. I believe that is a Spellbinder's die. I just shot my stash. And these turned out so fun. I like the pastel colors. I think that might be my favorite, although the traditional colors look beautiful too. So hard to decide. It's gonna be hard to figure out who's gonna get who I'm gonna mail the cards out to, because they're all so pretty. And the foil just adds an extra touch. And of course I have to have glitter. And these are the traditional colors. I love how they turned out too. And I think I'm going to have to make more. Try some different colors out. And the distress inks worked really well. There's so many different colors of distress inks that would be beautiful to make these cards. So I highly recommend this stencil set. Again, I will link it in the description below, and you can check it out. Tailored Expressions has a lot of fun stencil sets that are great to use. So thank you so much for stopping by and checking out my video, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.